Hi everyone, welcome back to Her Method to Success. Today I'm chatting with Zamina. She's a lawyer turned, guess what? Aerial fitness coach. She's a founder of Airborne, the beautiful studio we are at today, and she has 10 plus locations across Mumbai and a powerhouse team of 25 women. Let's get into her story. From law to aerial, what was it that set this change?
When I started, as a lawyer, when I was working with my dad and my own firm, I needed a time off for myself every day to just keep me sane and to ensure that I am in my own self and not losing out to the work profile that my dad wanted to build around me, because he is also a workaholic. And I used to always tell him, you need some balance in your life. And I did not want that to happen to me, because, usually you always take on to who you're working with
Parents,
also, and your parents. So I always used to remove that 1 hour to myself every morning, go for a run, just clear the headspace out, and ensure that I'm I have lived that 1 hour for myself, and now I can give into the work that I'm, dedicated to. And I love being a lawyer as well. It's not like I did not enjoy my work, but somehow I always felt that there was something missing in my life, where I'm not bound to an office or a closed office where you're just meeting people for solving their problems, and and then working with court dates, etc. Somehow something felt amiss, and I felt I wanted to give something that is more open to my heart and soul, where I'm able to express what I am as a person. And when I fell upon Aerial, or when I discovered Aerial almost 10 years ago, I felt it also elevated, and the experience it felt with my body and mind, I think everybody should be able to experience it. And even though I loved running, I loved lifting weights and doing a lot of CrossFit kind of workouts, so Aerial somewhat stuck with me, with that particular activity
So
that I
for
love.
how long did you, you just suddenly happened to try it, like it, and
Yeah, I did it for 2 years first as
okay,
a
yeah,
student, and then I was motivated that, you should try teaching because you're so good at it. Let's see how you teach.
that
And
you are.
I was nervous as hell, like I am in this for this interview as well. But I was very nervous. I didn't think I was a people's person that time. In fact, that's the thing that it gave me. What Aerial gave me was that I became a people's person, and I became somebody who sees the person as is, and to make that person experience, no matter what their age is, no matter what their weight is, no matter what background they come from. It's the experience that is making their body feel lighter, to release stress, tension, or whatever they are holding on to their bodies, and going away from my space with a happy zone, with a happy mood. And that's what stuck to me, and I felt this is something that I want to do and build my brand around it. And it
Okay.
started off as a passion project, honestly. I just thought I'll do some classes, go back to work, and back and forth. But it took just 3 months or 4 months for it to become something that I might look forward for the rest of my life. Yeah,
So you tried to balance along with
along with the
your
work as well.
law, and
Yeah,
you tried this. Then you gradually moved into just
just this. I had to take a call eventually,
yeah,
because I could not do both. It was too taxing on
yeah.
me physically and mentally.
So when you launched Airborne in 2017,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What was the reaction? Were people curious? Were they scared? Or how did you feel when you had to convince them or tell them about this?
So, Aerial for the longest time was not a part of Indian masses. And when you hear about Aerial, it always used to be acrobats, which is generally circus arts, and people who performed in circuses used to do. And that kind of niche, or the crowd for it was not ready for accepting Aerial as a format of fitness
Fitness,
in
right?
India, for that matter. And when Aerial Yoga as a whole came into the market, I think people, one, were skeptical because there's a prop where you have to hang on to. So the fear of falling.
Right.
See, most of the Indians are not Indians with, a lean body which can experiment with different things. They are very, very skeptical about falling from
And
a piece of
height,
cloth.
right.
Yeah, for them it's like a piece of cloth hanging from
Yeah.
the ceiling, and what will this help to achieve? Apparently what something on the floor wouldn't. And it's only after the experience it had to be changed in the minds of people, and the knowledge of it only came by experiencing it. Trust me, no impact of posters or telling them, okay, this helps in spine decompression, this helps in flexibility, mobility, nothing of that sort comes to comparison when somebody just comes in and takes a class with you. And plus, Instagram was not that huge
Right.
at that time. So even things like Instagram took really long time, and I'm from a different background altogether. So for me, putting stuff on Instagram, talking on Instagram, I still don't like holding a phone like this and talking. So it was not my forte at all. So my brand built purely on word of mouth. There was one person who came, did the class, went and said to two other people about the class, and then they came and then said to two more people, and that's how the brand began.
I am one of those
Yeah.
people. I remember hanging upside down
Exactly.
and thinking I'm just going to fall. But then somehow, once you experience it, I
Yeah.
think that's the whole difference. That's the defining
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Till you don't let go of the fear and actually hang upside down, you don't know what you're getting into.
Absolutely.
And once you hang, you want to hang.
Yeah.
Like, it is that.
It's so freeing.
Yeah,
And
liberating.
Liberating, yes,
Right.
that's the word. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you need to feel it to know that this is something that is so beautiful and so necessary for that matter. Because with our lifestyle, our postures, the way we move, the way we walk, and over the period of time, I've also mastered aerial in terms of body alignment, understanding, the spine work that the aerial hammock does for you, the exercises it brings to you. I have fusioned up with Pilates, which people really like, fusioned up with bar, which people really like. It's more intensive, more controlled, more focused on a particular muscle group, and that really gives you the more variation that a client wants or a student wants in their class. And you're not ever bored with
Right.
any class. Eventually you're
variation.
trying new things, you're
Yeah.
trying different things, you're challenging your body. I have clients who are 50-55-year-olds doing some acrobats, and they feel so amazing that even now they have it in them, and that's the best feeling you can ever get, truly.
Yeah. For you as a
As well as
teacher,
them.
you must be feeling.
I'm elated, honestly, when they do it and then they follow it and they are consistent. It is no way anybody can not do aerial.
Yeah. I remember I have had tears like after a session. I mean, I've never confessed that, but it's just opened up something in my body
Something, yeah.
physically,
Yeah.
and it always is obviously mentally making you feel really relaxed. I have cried after my sessions in a good way.
Yeah.
It's a great release.
Yeah, because a lot of movements on the hammock, which I curated eventually, also works on somatic release as well, where a body stores trauma.
Right.
If people before 10 years ago were not aware too much of how much information now our body stores, whether it's grief, whether it's hurt, and all these exercises and movements are based on somatic exercises also, which help you release those emotions that you have trapped for so many years. And that's what makes you eventually come out crying or
Right.
releasing those emotions, for that matter. And it is phenomenal how it has grown so much over the period of time, and I'm truly grateful that I started off so soon in the life of aerial yoga, or
I think you were
aerial
the
fitness.
first.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember. I had not heard of it ever before, and I think you were one of the first pioneers.
We took Bombay by a storm.
Yeah, you did.
Truly.
As I can see in the studio, I mean, it's not cheap to get these hammocks and equipment. Did people ever try to downplay you, like it's like more of a hobby, or what was the first reactions you got from setting up your studio and also the clients?
Uh, so clients honestly now are aware of these things, but back then I would say people in terms of people around you, like friends, family, and people who are not aware of this because it was completely new. Yes, they have looked it upon something that is, you know, just so funny that you're hanging upside down on a fabric or on a cloth.
Right, with a special fabric, right?
Yeah, it's a special fabric, absolutely. Setup needs a lot of work, and you need expert people to make sure that things are safer. Even at my studio, every 6 months I call my architect, I call my contractor to ensure all the stuff, all the bars are still in place. Any welding or etc needs to be done for more safety is taken care of every 6 months to ensure that nobody falls, especially for the source related stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
After scaling to 10 locations, what has been the most challenging thing you experienced?
So when I tie up with studios, the most challenging part is for the studio to understand and have the passion for having that activity at the studio, because most studios nowadays also, and I would say 3-4 years ago as well, for them they just wanted another activity to make
Attract
attract clients
people,
and
right.
also make good revenue out of
Right.
it, because it's a niche and you can charge people more as well for that matter. So the most challenging part comes when the studio is not passionate about the subject.
Tell me perhaps 3 myths that people uh, always ask you or they feel before signing up for a aerial. Don't tell me it's a मैं गिर जाऊंगा क्या. Apart from that, what are the biggest myths? Because for someone like me, I was not sure that it will work on my overall well-being as well.
Yeah.
So what other questions do you get?
So if you add aerial as a workout along with your other workouts, depending on what your goal is, it gives you faster results and also makes you injury free, because you're
Right.
working on your alignment, you're working on your flexibility, which improves your range in other activities that you're doing. So that question always arises, that I'm overweight. Secondly, the hammock takes 200 kgs of weight.
Yeah.
So unless you are 200 above, I will have a certain level of worry for you to put you on the hammock. But that is also not even the question. Even if you're overweight, I can still do a lot of stuff on the floor along with the use of the hammock,
Right.
where you don't have to sit and hang on the hammock. So that's the most important question I get most of the time. The other question I generally get is, of course, injury related. When somebody is already injured or gone through a surgery or gone through any things, then they usually ask questions about, will this help or will this not be too much on my knees or too much on my legs. So those are the questions just that are generally put forth before signing up for any class. Men usually have a very different question. Generally they think that it's a women only activity. So men generally take some time to accept the fact that it's really good for them, for their flexibility, and to improve. Even if you're a weightlifter or somebody who runs a lot, it's important for their flexibility, for their hip flexors, to ensure that their running becomes better, to improve their squat range, to improve their lift heavy, the shoulder mobility, all those things. So those questions really come across, and I'm really happy to burst their bubble out of why they are eligible for doing aerial. Yeah.
I have seen some men, I think, I've seen quite a few in your class or in your videos.
Yeah.
Are they able to do the first class?
Yeah.
Like, or
It's
they are like,
surprising.
wow.
They are amazing in their first class.
Right?
See, men usually have strength, so they can build the strength. It's the flexibility that
Flexibility,
is the
right.
most challenging part for a man to come when they come for a class. And sometimes they are, they're struggling with it. But some people really get the understanding of the hammock. It's important the person understands their own body and understands the hammock against gravity. Because when you don't have that body balance, then you struggle for the first month or the first few months. But if you understand the body balance along with the fabric, then it's very easy even from your first class, and then you build yourself from there. So most men really love it when they have tried it. But yeah, I'm still hoping more men are open to exploring aerial, of course. course.
And the kids must be having a blast,
kids,
right?
kids are the most fantastic bunch
Yeah.
that I have. I don't know how their body is so agile, and I really, really wished that my parents would have started something like this for me when I was 10 years old or 15 years old, even doesn't matter. I started when I was 28, so it doesn't, it does not take too long to get where you are. But yeah, it's great to start young, and kids are amazing. And when we put up our shows, it just shows how well they can perform even on stage. So it's
Yeah,
a really good feeling
works
when I
on
watch
many
aspects.
different
Yeah,
aspects for a child.
I've seen somebody the child who doesn't even talk in class, and
Yeah.
after the show, they are the most the most chattery bunch. Which I thought, my God, where did this come from?
Yeah,
The
you're building a
confidence
community, right?
and it's a family over
Yeah.
here. We all push each other, we all lift each other, we all
Literally.
literally, yeah. And it's something that I'm so proud of.
Yeah.
You have no idea. I cannot tell you how happy I am sitting here.
That's true. Okay, so you've built a full 25 women team, like all women.
Yeah, it's
The
all
men are
women.
missing in your team.
Yes,
So-
I think I relate very well with women, and I love to make sure that they are seeing their potential through my eyes. And the trainers I've picked, the team I've picked, I've seen the potential in them, and then I've picked them. And I know that this person can be somebody who I can rely on in terms of safety, maturity, and also themselves getting better eventually, as a teacher. Because as I was when I started, I never thought I would teach. And like that, there are so many trainers who are in my team who never thought they would teach. And that's what I wanted to turn around for most of them. And it did do well. Most of the trainers I have are all from 9 to 5 jobs and are CAs, lawyers. Very few of them I have full time who are doing this as a full time class, but most of them are working people who never thought they would teach, but they are teaching now. So building that part and that side where they have the passion for it, because I wanted passion in all my trainers. I need you to love aerial, only then you'll be able to teach it well.
Right.
And it's important to ensure that I'm also lifting them up even professionally. It's not just the passion that I'm feeding, I'm also feeding their upliftment as a trainer also, because you cannot stay there in one spot for 10 years and not become a senior trainer or get more work.
Right.
For that matter. So I'm always constantly working on that I ensure that all my trainers are getting the kind of work, the rewards, the upliftment that they need for feeling that, okay, 2 years down the line I have something more to give
Waiting.
out. Yeah.
Right.
And it's fun with women, trust me.
Lastly, Zamina, if you had to sum up your whole experience of starting out, switching from law, etc., opening up your own studio. I remember coming for your classes in different places,
Yeah.
and I was like, I have to follow her wherever she's going, because clearly this is working for me.
Yeah.
How has it been to build this? How would you describe your method to success in a short way? What do you think it has really been? I understand it's been passion,
Yeah.
it's also been commitment, but what do you think you've had to push through to get where you are?
I think it's a lot of passion with a lot of smartness when it comes to building a brand. And you cannot have just passion. You need to have the understanding of how you can make a vision towards a next step. Because I'm here always, every year I have another goal. I wanted to make a studio. I knew within the 5 years I want to have a studio. On the 5th year, we celebrated our 5th anniversary in the studio. So when I started, I knew 5 years down the line I want to have my space. 2 years ago, I want to have my show. So there has always been a goal that I have set myself with. When one finishes, I have the next goal set for me. And I think that makes you run towards it much more when you have something already planned for you for the next 2 years or 5 years or 1 year. Doesn't matter. The span is not important. What your vision is important. and the vision to build a community and a studio and maybe more studios and maybe go places where I've not been before is something that I'm always looking forward to. And that's what so I believe in manifestation. I believe in when you really want something for yourself and others, and it's just not just myself, it's for others and the team to also experience the level at which Airborne wants to reach at one point. And that makes it a rush for me, and I want to work really hard for it. So
Zamina, I found your story inspiring and bold, and of course, full of lift, literally. Until next time, everyone, as always, thank you for tuning in. See you in the next episode of Her Method to Success.